First package is from JLC PCB, and this is not sponsored in any way. I ordered some PCBs for an upcoming project, and if you ever wondered how does a package from JLC PCB look like, it does like this. These PCBs, and I ordered 20 because they were 10 bucks all in, and the most expensive part was indeed the shipping. And these are PCBs that should enable a 1541 floppy drive to work on a Commodore PET. And this PCB is by Nicholas Becker, who did this in 2015. And I'm really interested if that works. Components stuff, it's actually two packages. And the first one is an SN75160AN, which is a bus transceiver chip. It's just single component. These are pretty hard to come by these days. Then we have an SN75161AN, some diodes, some caps. I guess these are some LS chips and a few Centronics ports. So my goal is to use a 1541 on a PET and to make a project out of this and to make a video about it, of course, so that everyone can use a 5041 with a PET, because the PET disk drives are pretty expensive and they tend to fail or be defective already, and the 1541 is pretty easy to come by and it's relatively cheap, and I guess you can build this interface for about 10 to 15 euros or dollars, so that is quite a nice alternative. Subscribe to see that if you have a PET or plan to get a PET and have a reliable way of storing data on a disk. The next package comes from Italy, and it does contain 3 EEPROM adapters, and these do adapt from 2364 to 2764, which are the BIOS ROM chips of the 1541 and the C64. So you can use these with readily available 2764 EEPROMs. As you can see, the 2764 a bit longer, and these are the smaller kernel ROMs. And yeah, you have to solder a socket on it and some pin headers on the other side, and then use these. They are pretty simple, as you can see, but I didn't want to wire this up. I guess these cost about $2 a piece, so that's okay. What's inside here from eBay, and these are indeed the fitting EEPROMs for this. These are 2764 EEPROMs, and these fit perfectly, or should fit perfectly, in here, at least into a socket. Then I burn the new kernel for the 1541 onto this one, so that it can be accessed from the PET. I'm looking forward to this, if this really works, which is a program from, or a project from 40 years ago from some magazine, and I have no idea if I can get it to work. So that would be interesting. So the next package came in this rumbling mess. And well, we could talk about packaging for another 12 hours now. But what's the point? Couldn't even make out what this is. Looks like some styrofoam ball. I have no idea. However, this is not the way to package. And then we have a cardboard box inside a cardboard box. Oh man, it's getting worse. And more styrofoam on the side. Ah, that's impossible. Oh great, and thank God they didn't put the machine in a bag so that the styrofoam could really go in every crack and corner. Oh man. So this is another Amstrad CPC 6128, or Schneider CPC 6128 rather. Astoundingly, it seems to have, oh no, survived shipping, but it has some deck flex, as we professionals call this. The keys are a bit sticky and we have styrofoam everywhere. So here it is. It seems to be missing a few screws, and I assume that is on purpose. And it has some nasty scratches and burn marks all over it, which were not in the photo. Oh man. Still styrofoam coming out of this. Yeah, I don't know. We could plug this in and see what it does. And maybe we should. Let's do this. Okay, I brought out the GT65, which is the monitor with the 12 volts input. Let's power on the monitor and let's power on the machine. Oh, here we go. Okay, so that looks promising. All of the keys seem to work, which is always nice. So the main issue with these machines is usually that the disk drive, put a disk in, that the disk drive doesn't work. So let's see. Yeah. And that doesn't sound great. Okay, this usually means that the belt inside the disk drive is completely gone, and we have to change it. So, okay, so to open this machine up, there are just some screws on the bottom, and the screws down here are already missing. So, yeah, and we have more of that nice little styrofoam in here, which we will try to get out in a moment. So let's remove the remaining screws. There's one missing too. So someone took this apart and maybe tried to fix the disk drive. So we have, in this case, just 4 screws holding it all in. Turn this around. Open this up. So there's a double ribbon cable and there's some spider's web. And here's the drive in question, which is already open. I'm not sure if this is the way this is supposed to be. Could be, because Amstrad was just like Commodore, pretty cheap. So they might even not have used a cover on this. I guess we have to take out the drive. There's more styrofoam in here already. I guess with those 2 screws. And there's a ground cable, which we will put back in a minute. Yeah, it's just 2 screws and a little bit of styrofoam and a dead spider. Nice. And more dust. Okay, so there's only 2 cables. There's the power cable and there is the data cable. And at least the power cable is keyed, but the data cable is not. So make sure to remember how this was in here. In my case, this is with the cable on the back down. Yeah, the very unhappy thing about this drive is that you have to remove the board to get to the drive belt. And in this case, this is only 2 screws. With this video, there will also go another video online, which is how to do the same on the DDI1 external drive. So how to switch the belt on the DDI1 drive. And this is put in here, and it's held in with these little plastic tabs, so you have to pull slightly or remove all the cables, which I'm a little reluctant to do right now. But I guess we have to, because that won't work otherwise. I guess it's best to use a screwdriver to loosen these, because the cables are pretty loose in there. Okay, and then we have at least a little space to work in. And as you can see, maybe there's the belt, which is pretty much toast. So first order of business is to get this belt out of there. And let's hope, no, it's already disintegrating, so you will not be able to just grab the belt. And as you may see, there's lots of belt. Well, I guess that is as good as it gets. And now this black mess on there. Yeah. Now we grab one of these belts that I have here, and I have a lot of these. I guess this one might fit nicely. Let's check. Yeah, that should work. It's a bit fiddly to get in there without removing the board, but eventually this will work. So after putting in the belt, all there is to it is putting in the board. First put in the board, watch that you align the little LED in the front, then put in the screws, then put in the 3 cables again, and you're good to go. So let's put this back into the 6128 and see if it works. Let's first connect the drive again, put in the cable so that the pin 1, the red wire, is on the right side, and the power connector, which is a bit loose here, just grab something to, okay, so that is in there. Then make sure that the drive sits flush inside the case, that you don't kill any cables, and then screw it back in. So I guess we should give this a little test drive. Let's try. Okay, let's switch on the machine. Still works, that's good. Put in the disk. This time this works much faster. Let's check the second side. Cat. Oh, look at that. Run happy-com. Well, that may be. This is a public domain program. If you like it, you can copy it or give it away. Programmable calculator. Okay, let's just say the disk drive works. Whatever this program may be, the disk drive works, so that's great news. Still, there are very few screws in here. The case is a bit scratched and the keys are dirty, but all in all, this is not a bad result. So yeah, got a 6128 for pretty cheap. And now with a working disk drive, and this is the most common fault on these drives, that the belt is just degraded, whatever. So if you can pick up one of these for cheap with a non-working disk drive, this is how you can fix this. And these belts are pretty much $5 a bag of 100 on eBay or Amazon. So grab them while they're hot. Good. That's the Amstrad CPC 6128 or the Schneider CPC 6128 in this specific case. We have two more packages. First, there's this UV light EEPROM eraser. I got a bunch of EEPROMs, and well, turns out some of them are actually not erased. So I needed something to erase these, and if we open this up, quickly do this. Man, there's this UV light tube, and you can't erase this with a pocket light or something like this, or a flashlight. It doesn't work. So you have to use this very high radiation UV light, and this is probably the cheapest possible box. You just have some plastic drawer where you put your EEPROMs, and then start the machine. Oh, actually running. Off you go. And well, it has a wrong plug, which is not great. I'll have to change the cable here and then check if it works. Yeah, that is that. And then I have this package here, and that looks like, well, let's not discuss this. This is a Scart2HDMI adapter. So you put in a Scart plug on one side, and it gives you HDMI out on the other, and you can switch between 1080p and 720p. Needs 5-volt power supply, which is within the box. And why don't we check this out? Let's try the Atari XL, which I just made a cable for. Put on a Scart plug and see where we go. Okay, I did hook up this to power. And there's a HDMI cable that goes into my TV. And on the other end, there's the Atari. And the composite signal goes into video of this cheapo Scart adapter. And this Scart adapter goes into this. And as you can see, no signal. Let's switch it on. And there we go. Nice. So this is, yeah, sound works too. This is kind of a cheap way to do HDMI capturing through Scart or composite. This did cost me $12, so seems like a good price for a device to capture old computers. Let's switch to 1080p. Yeah, also works. Doesn't do much to the quality, so I should try this with a better output or real Scart adapter, not just this cheapo one, but for now it works. Great. Yeah, so this is the end of RetroPackages 5. Thanks for watching, and until next week. Bye-bye. This is Retro is Your New Black. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time.